Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to Counselor's Couch 101. I am Jim Stump. By the way, someone asked me how I came up with that title, Counselor's Couch 101. Back in the day, I published a series of books about counseling experiences, and the name of the series was Counselor's Couch, and then the title of that particular episode. But when I thought it'd be a good title for a YouTube channel since I was asked to do such a thing. Counselor's Couch. When I looked for it online, I found out that there were many counselors' couches out there, right? So I thought I wanted to distinguish it from all the others in some way. And I did not find anyone designating themselves Counselor's Couch 101. So that's how I ended up on that. I remind you folks once again, I'm looking for other counselors who want to participate in this project. We'll get together somehow. We'll figure it out how we can communicate. And when issues come up, problems, people come in with ills they want help with or some direction or information, we can all chime in and we'll take that and I'll put that all together and put it out to the public. Basically, we're educating the general population as to what other people might be going through and how your understanding of what they're dealing with can help you relate to them better and probably can help them get through life better as well. So that's the whole idea, trying to do something positive in the world. And I am nobody in particular. I'm here because of this guy right there. By the way, I said it before. Go to YouTube, look under homesteading off the grid and type in gifting. This is really a brilliant episode right there. The best one I've ever seen him do. It's really worth watching. But anyway, he asked me to come on here and to provide some advice to folks who are contacting him with personal problems that he didn't feel he had the expertise to comment on. And so that's why I'm here. I'm nobody particularly gifted or accomplished in any way. I'm just a worker in the field who spent a lot of years talking with people and their issues and trying to find ways to help them be happier in life and to lead a better life. A better life according to their definition, not mine, right? That's another issue about counseling. The goal of a counseling session with a person is not what I think they should do. My goal is to help them accomplish what they want to do. They tell me what they want to get out of their life or what they want to put in their life and the obstacles they have to that. And we find a way to work through all of the things that are standing in the way, blocking their success, blocking their happiness. At least that's how I approach it. Two of the most common complaints you get in the counseling room are depression and anxiety. Very common, especially since COVID. Everybody started worrying about employment. They started worrying about income, money, cash on hand, all sorts of problems because it just disrupted our regular way of living lives. COVID came along, isolated people, it made them worry about things, put strain on relationships, etc., etc. Like I say, everything we do has been changed because of that experience, the pandemic. But back to depression and anxiety, I tell folks, first off, I say, look, depression is not a spectator sport. You have to do something. If you want to get rid of it, you have to stand up to it. You got to figure out a way to get it out of your life, get it out of what's going on in your head, and be better able to function as in your profession, in relationships, etc., etc. Someone once said depression is worry about the past. In other words, someone's thinking about the things that happened to them and they feel really badly about it. They would like to go back and change things, but they know they can't. It's impossible. And so there's nothing else to do with that desire except to direct it at yourself and feel bad about what you've done in the past or what was done to you. But the past need not dictate how the future of your life goes. Now, anxiety, someone once said, depression is worry about the past. Anxiety is worry about the future. What's going to happen? Will I get that job? Will I get any job? Will I have an income next week? Is my partner going to leave me? Are we going to have children or not? I don't know that we can afford them. I don't want to bring a child into this world. Worry about all sorts of things that never happen. And that's one of the things to be aware of. Most of the time, the things that we worry about are things that never happen or things that are not going to happen in the future. Somebody said 90% of the things we worry about never happen, right? What we're trying to do, though, is to understand the process, the mechanism, what happens to us when we experience depression and anxiety. When we know what's going on, we have the information to combat it with. What generally happens, think of it this way. Back in the day when we were all living in caves, when you woke up in the morning and you looked out the front of your cave, if you didn't see anything out there, you said, okay, everything's well and good, nothing to worry about. But if you woke up in the morning and you looked out of the front of your cave and you saw a huge Tyrannosaurus Rex salivating, waiting for you to come out so he can grab you, then you start to worry. And the body goes into, it affects the nervous system. You've probably all heard of fight or flight. Well, originally, fight or flight was in reference to that dinosaur or to anything else in the world that could cause you harm that you were afraid of. And that's in our animal nervous system. And what would happen when you stuck your head out the front of the cave and you saw the dinosaur? You'd get a spike of some sort of chemical in your system. It could easily have been adrenaline, right? And that gave you a momentary burst of energy so that you could run away or pick up a spear and fight this thing, right? It gave you that. Nowadays, we have that same spike. Something happens to us when we get triggered with a memory. Either it's the past and we're depressed, or something about the future that we're worried about. When the brain triggers that chemical reaction, it pumps the chemistry into your body, and then you can feel it. It spikes up. It's really a drug. And what it is that we have to recognize the pattern is it'll spike for a moment, but it will go away. So often I tell folks when you have these kinds of incidents, if you can sit quietly for a minute or two, let it pass. And not only that, be aware of it when it happens, that it's only going to be with you for a minute or two. You can let go of it. All right? That's one way to deal with it. The other thing is to realize that all this stuff that's going on, the anxiety or the depression, doesn't exist in the real world. There is no dinosaur looking through the window. No dinosaur, right? But we're still reacting as though there was. So if there is no threat in the world, where is it? It's in our brains. It's in our minds. It's in the stories we are telling ourselves. And the stories are usually the quick little statements like, that was stupid, Jim. Like, hey, you messed that up. That's going to cost you now. You blew out that tire. Things we tell ourselves in our mind that probably don't exist in the real world, but we are responding to them as if they were real and they were in the world. So, first thing to be aware of is that when you have a spike of depression or anxiety, realize that it's just due to a body's reaction to something, probably a memory, and it put chemicals into your body, and that's what causing you the physical sensations that you're experiencing. So sit calmly a moment and let it pass. The next thing to be aware of is, what are you saying to yourself? I often ask people to keep a log. We call it negative self-talk. I say, keep a log of all the negative stuff you say to yourself. And you'll be amazed at how we come up with it. We can see the themes if we do that. Also, we don't have to keep a log forever. It's just for a period of time, maybe a couple of weeks, to see what the heck it is that is troubling you, either unconsciously or subconsciously. What is bothering you? What is your brain saying to you? I once asked a gentleman to do that, and he was very faithful to it. He kept a log, and after a week, and he had kept the log, and he came back in for a session, I said, anything in your log? And he said, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff here. What do I do with it? I said, well, just go ahead and read it. Let's see what it says, right? So he read through about 20 different items that he had listed in the last 7 days that had gone through his head. And I listened to this whole list of things that he was thinking and saying, and I reflected on it for a moment, and I said, it sounds to me like you're mad at your girlfriend and you don't trust her. The guy looked at me and he got really quiet for a moment, and he said, yeah, that's it. That's what's bothering me. So all this stuff that comes up, it's like he's painting a scene over the thing that's really bothering him, the thing that causes him emotional distress. And once we identify what that emotional distress is, we can work on it. We can deal with it. We can get it to go away. We either fix that relationship or he makes another choice. But somehow or another, we deal with the underlying cause. But the anxiety and the depression, they are not real. They are reactions to things we tell ourselves. So we want to recognize that we're feeling a physical reaction because something spiked the chemistry in our body. It's going to go away. And we want to pay attention to what it is we are telling ourselves that causes those chemical spikes. When we figure out all that stuff, a lot of these basic problems that people come into counseling for, they disappear. And oftentimes we can do this in very short order. It doesn't take years and years and years to do this type of work, right? We identify the issues that the person is experiencing. We work on remedies, and pretty quickly the person can have a new perspective on life, be happier, and be more successful in relationships. So that's just a little bit of information about the basic causes that people come into counseling with. Anxiety and depression, they're not spectator sports. You got to do something. When you have a negative thought, we have to counteract it with positive thoughts. When we have a jolt of chemistry in our body, we counteract it by sitting calmly and identifying what we're worried about and challenge whether or not it's worth worrying about. Those are the basic ideas around the most basic complaints that people have in counseling. If you have any questions or thoughts or things you would like to share, please contact us. Put a comment down below or send us an email at counselorscouch101@mail.com. Thanks for coming. I'll talk with you next time.